everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Bleeding Metal podcast. I'm your host, Kiki. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm here with my co-host,
Martha. Hi, my pronouns are also she, her.
Today we are bringing you the conversations that we had at Tuska Forum by Bleeding Metal this year. And this one was a really special and really interesting one. You're going to see a bit of a blackout, a bit of a technical problem in the middle of the episode. But I hope that doesn't bother you because the conversation we had with SKYND about finding light in darkness was really moving as well.
Yeah, I really had chills with that one.
Enjoy! Hello everyone! Welcome back. This is the third and final session of the Forum by Bleeding Metal. Tonight, day one, we still have a lot of Tuska to go, and for the next session that is called Finding Light in Darkness, please give it up for our guest SKYND.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We are here in Tuska Forum, and I'm the host. My name is Kiki. My pronouns are she, her. And I have the feeling nowadays that it's hard to find hope in the world with everything that's going on.
Exactly, yeah.
And you, with your music, you explore the darkest sides of the human mind, of humanity, and that is what I wanted to talk about to you a little bit for the next 30 minutes, to try to find light through the dark stories that you tell us. But before we start and before we dive right into our topic, dear audience, don't forget that first of all, we're live on YouTube, and second of all, there's a QR code in the background that you can scan to submit your questions that we will try to answer them as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your process? What is your creative process to select and then research and develop these stories that you tell in your music?
I do a lot of research. I'm a huge true crime fan. I disliked the word fan, but yeah, I'm fascinated by true crime. And when I was really young, I was probably 4 years old, my imaginary friend came to me and he whispered all those really dark stories into my ear. And I had to find an outlet to get rid of all those dark feelings. And when I got older, maybe I was 9, I found out that I had this notebook and I was just writing all my thoughts in it about those cases. And I didn't felt that heavy anymore afterwards when I wrote it down. But it didn't help. So I got older and I found this outlet of music that I can create with the story, with the facts I investigated. And this is how it came to be for me, that I found this spark of creativity in this darkness, and I turned it into something that, I don't want to sound too grotesque, but it somehow healed me as well, to be interested in the human psyche, to understand human beings on a different level. It's a really dark level, don't get me wrong, but it helps me to understand more and understand humans better. That's just my opinion, but I feel like nobody gets born evil. And I feel like if I can just put a little light on that we're human beings and we're all having mental health issues, we all do. Yes. We all have our backpacks. It's just on us what we do with this backpack. And I feel like some people, they don't really have the choice to decide because they're triggered or they're so traumatized that they get triggered pretty easily. So they don't really have the ability to say no. But if we do have the ability to say no and look at it, I think that's something we should all do. Look after each other, our mental health, and that's what I'm trying to do. Shed a light on mental health and the human psyche. Yeah.
That's a very important topic that we love to discuss on the podcast, on the show. But before we go into that, can you tell us also a little more about your musical upbringing? Did you grow up in a household with a lot of music?
Yeah, I actually grew up with Pink Floyd. I was a huge fan as a kid, still a huge fan. What really inspired me was The Wall, because The Wall tells a story. It's a concept album. It happened with The Wall and Berlin and everything that history told us. And they made music with this. They got creative and then wrote this album. And that's how I was like, maybe I should try do the same. I'm not Pink Floyd, I don't want to say that, but I'm trying to do it, like translate these heavy topics into music.
Yeah.
And that's how I got inspired, yeah.
Did you have music lessons? What instrument did you learn to play first?
I never learned an instrument, I always sang. When I do my songwriting as well, everything starts in my head. So when I write my music with Father, I go to the studio and I just sing what I hear. That's why I never needed an instrument. And he's a multi-instrumentalist. I'm happy to have him and I can just sing whatever comes to mind. Yeah.
Did you get singing lessons then?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I had to. I remember that, I think it was 2021 when we played Rock for People. I remember that I played the set and afterwards my voice was gone. I knew I had to change this because in the beginning I just tried to focus on my music and I totally forgot about myself. Yeah, because it was so important to me to do the right thing with the music and the videos.
Yeah.
So I forgot about myself. After this incident I had at Rock for People, I had to get lessons, yes, vocal coaching.
And take care of yourself and your voice as well,
Exactly.
much better. Is there something specific that you do for that? Yeah. Staying
Water.
hydrated is very important.
Stay hydrated.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, I do my breathing techniques. That's really important for me, that I can hold my breath and not push the vocals out. That's what I did in the beginning a lot. And I learned to also, I have ADHD myself. And what I tend to do is, I'm really impulsive. So I go on stage and the first song, Richard Ramirez, and I scream everything out. And then second song, you're like, why did you do that? You have no energy left. So I had to really learn to, you know, my energy is 100%. You don't have more than 100%, so you have to
Manage it,
yeah,
divide it a little
yes,
better.
exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing your learnings as well about yourself and your process. And going back to the true crime element of your music, have you found community in it? I know that the true crime community is big and also they talk a lot about mental health. Is there any media that you would like to recommend on that front?
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of books. I love True Crime Garage. I don't know if you heard about that. But I'm trying to get all the information. When I do my research, I'm lucky to have Florence McLean, who's a criminal psychologist, and she can handle me the infos firsthand. So that's really interesting. Because sometimes you have to be careful with the facts that are on the internet, because a lot of people just speculate about it. And I'm really glad to have her as a true
expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. If anyone is looking for recommendations, My Favorite Murder is my favorite true crime podcast.
True, yeah.
Yes.
I like this one too.
They bring some lightness with some humor to it that I find very important because the topic can be really heavy. How do you protect yourself on that front? How do you not let the stories move you too much or drain you too much?
I think for me to investigate true crime is actually my way of relaxing. It sounds weird, but it is. If I'm hyper-focused on a case, I actually relax. That's something I love to do because normally with ADHD, I cannot really focus on stuff that's not interesting. And that sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
But with true crime, I know I can stay focused. And that's why I can calm down, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. Is that something that you talk about a lot? Because you have said before, and you just said as well, that true crime music raises awareness about real societal issues and especially about mental health.
Yeah.
Is that something that you talk about with your fans a lot?
Yes, I do. I'm having on my Patreon, I'm having regular mental health check-ins. I just ask them, how you doing? How's your mental health doing? And I feel like what is really important to me is that we have this open conversation about mental health in my community, that we don't have to be afraid to talk about whatever. If you feel like I'm not good enough, you can tell me that. And I will tell you, no, you are. You should have this conversation much more. And with this community, I feel like I can even help them with this. And it helps me, it heals me. It's healing myself as well, because I wasn't able to talk about my interests in true crime because I got bullied in school for that, for this interest. And I was a loner. So I know how it feels to be alone and not being asked how your mental health is doing or how you are doing. And that's why it's so important to me to have this community and ask them, how are you? And are you truly okay? Or you're just telling me that?
Wow.
And but I feel like if we as a society, not to sound too grotesque, but if we just start having more uncomfortable conversations, probably we could all get a little better.
Yeah.
Not much better, but maybe a little bit. And that's a lot.
Yes, absolutely. There's something else that you have said in your interviews before, that's there's not only light or not only goodness about humans or about the world, there's also dark sides, and there's a lot of dark
Yes.
sides. And I think that connects a lot to what you were just saying. We just have to accept the fact that there is darkness to life in general. I consider myself death positive. That's a movement that has been around for a few years now. And it just means accepting that death is a part of life.
Exactly.
And it's a reality, and we will all die someday.
Yeah.
And we might as well prepare for it.
But
or just
also,
talk
if
about
we
it.
never talk about death, it will always be an off topic to us. It will always be uncomfortable. And I feel like
Exactly.
if we talk about it openly and not being scared to talk about it, I think there could be change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What could be the change that you would wish the most from
More
those types of
communication
conversations?
when it comes to mental health and more understanding that we're all human beings, we're all individuals. Not everyone is reacting the same way. We are different, and that's okay. We're
Yeah.
all different. That's fine. But we're all the same at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Because we need to talk. And I feel like when we talk and we have this communication about mental health or whatever, I feel like it brings us much closer. Because we feel like, oh, you got the same problem as me. Oh, you
Yeah.
got ADHD as well. Oh, you got that. You got that. And then with this conversation, we probably could heal a little.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Yes, and it has been changing. Fortunately, it has been changing a little bit. I feel like the conversations about mental health or therapy even.
Yeah.
Just even telling a friend that I go to therapy has been way easier. I'm actually very open with it, but I feel like now I hear more and more friends tell me that they also go, that they also have a therapist, that they also have a psychologist, and honestly, everybody needs it.
Everyone has mental health. We all have it. You go to a doctor when you're sick, and it should be normal to go to therapy if you feel mental health is not okay or if you're struggling.
Yeah.
That should be a normal thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even prevention, because we go to our
Exactly.
dental checkup every 6 months, hopefully. Or we go to all of the different screenings and such. We should also just,
Exactly.
even to find diagnoses like ADHD or a lot of other issues that are very common, to just have them diagnosed easier. I know that for women, for example, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to be diagnosed with ADHD, especially in a later adult life. And it can be so relieving to have a diagnosis, to know that it's okay, to know that it's part of you.
This is exactly what I experienced. When I was really young, maybe 10 or 11, I had this ADHD testing, and they told me only boys have ADHD. You don't have it. You're just hypersensitive.
Wow.
But that didn't help. I struggled through my whole school career, if you
Yeah.
can call it that way. And then I got my diagnosis much later, after I was done with school, which sucked. Because
Right.
the sadness that came up that something could have helped me
Yeah.
during that time sucked.
Yeah.
Because I suffered through school, really.
Right.
Yeah, it was really hard. Because I tried to tell what's wrong with me, but I couldn't really tell what's wrong with me. And I don't like to say there's nothing wrong with me, but you know what I mean when I say everyone is different, and then you're just there, but I'm struggling.
Yeah.
What am I doing? And then you get diagnosed, and first I had this grieving time of I could have done better if I had known. But now with the diagnosis and now with medication, I feel so
Yeah.
much better. And it really changed my life for the better. Going to
That's
therapy and having this diagnosis, yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. And I feel like medication can also be a taboo sometimes. And we had 2 years
Shouldn't
ago,
be.
we were here as well. It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
2 years ago, we were here and we had our Tuska Forum as well. Marco Hietala was sitting here beside me and he was telling me a very similar story, that he was diagnosed at a very late age and that with medication, he all of a sudden realized this is how a normal person works.
Exactly. Yeah, it was eye-opening to me. When I had my first medication, at first I was like, no, I'm not going to take medication. I don't need it. But I struggled so much that I came to a point where I was like, okay, there is no other option. You need to go to therapy and you need to have those medication. I took it. It was so eye-opening. I was like, this is how a normal person can function.
Yeah.
And that was eye-opening. That was crazy.
And a relief,
But
I
now,
bet.
yeah, it's a relief. It's a relief that I can function with the medication and I
Yeah.
can focus on stuff, which I couldn't do before.
Did that change your music, your composing, your songwriting, your
Yes.
storytelling?
Yes, because I got much more structured. Before, I just had all my notes and I couldn't really, I was interested in everything, all my cases, and I couldn't just focus on one. I remember when I started working with Father, I had so many topics. And then he was like, okay, but we have to have a structure. We cannot write about 5 songs in like 1 day. We
Okay.
need to have like structure. And with the medication, it got easier for me to work more with this kind of structure. Before it was just chaotic.
Wow.
Chaotic and totally stressful for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't finish stuff. I was like, oh, there's a new topic. I'm just going to write about that.
Yeah.
And then I came back to the studio, and Father was like, so what? So you started a new song? I was like, yeah. And he was like, but we're still working on 3 other songs. Maybe we should finish one.
Yeah.
But with medication, it got much, much better.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Has there ever been a song, or no, not even a song, before the song is created, has there ever been a story that actually shook you to the core?
Gary Heitnick. Gary Heitnick was one of the first stories I've heard of my imaginary friend. He told me that when I was 6 years old, and that was the first ever true crime story I heard. And it was brutal for me because it was the most brutal story you can tell me. A guy putting these women through a meat grinder and then feeding them to his victims. And I was 6 years old. Yeah, that haunted me for a while. Yeah. And that's why I had to come up with something like an outlet where I can just write it down and then get it off my chest and not just think about it and overthink it and getting into this darkness. And and I'm really happy I found this outlet with like just writing about it, writing music about it. Gives me comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get bombarded with so much information nowadays, with so much violence as well. We see all of the war happening all over the place.
We
Is
talk
that
about
like you
war
too?
and the light goes out.
How do you deal with desensitization?
That's
Do
a
you
hard
feel
one.
like a lot of people, we stop caring, or we have less compassion? Do you think that has affected you, or how do you stop that from affecting others as well?
Right now, what's going on in the world, it's really hard for me as well to process. I really don't know what to say about that. It's just fucking sad.
Yeah.
And for me as well, to see all the pictures on Instagram, newsletters you get, it's hard for me as well to digest it. Much harder than true crime cases.
Yeah.
I must admit, yeah. I'm trying not to turn a blind eye on it, but I feel like, and that's the only tip I can give you, sometimes it's better to not look at it if you feel like your mental health is not there.
Yeah.
It's not ignoring it. So I feel like I feel bad for sometimes when I scroll through Instagram and I see dead children. It's hard for me to scroll away.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just have to.
Yes.
Because it's way too hard for me to digest it. And it's okay. I'm not ignoring it. But sometimes I have to.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the wrong word. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just trying to protect my mental health sometimes. But I'm trying not to turn a blind eye on the stories happening right now.
Yeah. Is there another way to put that energy towards as well? Talking about violence against women, for example, that you tell in your stories, sadly so often. Is
Sadly.
there maybe a cause that you support on that end or in any sort of activism?
So my activism is my main goal with being SKYND is I want to create a foundation, or I want to have a foundation where I can support survivors of abuse. That's really important to me because I sing about others. It's not my story.
Yeah.
I know that. And I got criticized for that a lot. And I get the point. But what I want to do is, my main goal is this foundation, a SKYND foundation where I can help people in need, where I can maybe have psychologists working there or whatever. That's just, maybe it's a really big goal for me,
Yeah.
but I really want to achieve that. I want to give back to people. That's really important to me.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
That's really lovely. We have one question to the audience. What is your background in singing? Anonymous says you have an amazing voice, and they wonder how long have you been singing, and has this always been your style?
It's always been my style, yes, and I've been singing all my life. But yeah, I started the vocal coaching in 2021, but I was singing all my life. That was always some kind of outlet that I could put together with true crime. Yeah,
That's beautiful.
I hope I could answer the question.
Yes. Do you have any idols that you would not only want to collaborate in the future, but also who have influenced you since the very beginning?
I love Roger Waters and I love David Gilmour. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, as I said in the beginning. Kate Bush is one of my biggest idols as well. How she can, with the high-pitched vocals, but she's doing it herself. And that's how I wanted to have this style as well, because it's my style as SKYND, but Kate Bush is a true idol to me. I love her, yeah.
What about your aesthetic, not only your music? What inspires your looks and the
I
looks
dream
of your
about my
videos?
looks. I do dream about my looks, and then I have to just write it down what I dreamt about, and then I just do it.
Do you make them yourself? That's amazing. You have so many skills.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
Thank you. But I also have a SKYND sister helping me.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have a community and various communities that extend to your fans and supporters as well as your crew. That's
Yes.
amazing. We have a new question coming in. What is the line between ignoring the news and protecting your mental health?
I think
Or how
you're
would you define
drawing
it?
the line. I'm not drawing the line for you. You have to decide. I mean, you have to feel that for yourself. I'm not going to tell anyone where to draw the line because that's on you.
Yeah.
If you're not able to look at the pictures and it breaks your heart and it makes you suffer, you should probably draw a line and just take a break, but not ignore it. But if right now, if it's too much, then just chill. Just try to chill.
Take a
and
break.
then and not feel bad about it as well. But that's something I have to tell myself as well. When I look away or I just scroll away and then it's like, oh, I feel so bad. But you shouldn't. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were talking about that a few moments ago in our first session when we were talking about the values of the metal community and how we sometimes get corrected or confronted about something if we are not using the correct language, if it's not being inclusive enough, or if we are being, I don't know, idiots sometimes. We all make mistakes, and we...
Of course, we're humans.
Yeah, exactly. And the point is that we realize we're making those mistakes and that we
try to-
correct them and try to be
Exactly.
better. And
Exactly.
that none of us is perfect. And so we should just try to be better instead of feel so attacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And going back a little bit to the beginning of the session and the title of the session, that is finding light through all this darkness that you have washed over yourself so much and that we get bombarded with so much. How do you find light?
I find light in my community, actually. I mean, I'm very grateful to have my community and to have that I was able to create a safe space for my community, for the syndicates. And that makes me really proud. That's the light I can see when people are like, oh, I found my best friend in your community. And then that really warms up my heart so much. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. So this is the light that I feel like I can put into the darkness, yeah.
So comfort and connection through community. That's
For
beautiful.
me, it's really, yeah, it's comforting to know that people can connect through these dark topics and find light at the end. That's nice, yeah.
That's what I know about the true crime community as well, that it's a little controversial, a little taboo topic. We also never want to be glorifying killers and aggressors and abusers, and we want to avoid that telling these stories gives people ideas. How do you manage that?
I feel like there we are again with like ignoring it. When I'm writing or when I investigate a murder, for example, Richard Ramirez, you learn a lot about mental health, the human psychology,
Yeah.
and that actually helps me to understand humans better with looking at it, also the perpetrator, and not just turn a blind eye on that. Of course, I'm trying to give the victims a voice. That's really important for me, and I'm not trying to glorify the killer, but I feel like I have to talk about it. If people think it's glorifying, let them. But for me, it's really important to talk about the perpetrators as well, because if we talk about them, probably we can understand others better as well. It's not just someone just came up with, okay, I'm going to be a serial killer now, let's go. No, it doesn't work that way. Eileen Warnes is one of the best examples for me. She had to go through so much darkness, and she never had a chance to change. She didn't have it. And that's why I feel like talking about perpetrators or serial killers or try to understand, I get that it's not easy. I also dislike to call humans monsters, because in the end of the day, we're all having backpacks. And you had the chance to change. If you didn't have one, you will have one probably or I hope so, in prison, where you can maybe talk to someone. And not just these people, they need help, obviously. Yeah. And we need to understand them as well for maybe preventing something else from happening, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes absolute sense. That means the light that you have given me now is compassion.
Yeah.
To see each other with a little bit more compassion.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And give it up for SKYND.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I think the last part was really important. After we had finished the session, SKYND came up to me and said that she was really moved by our conversation, and that the key was how we closed. The key was about having compassion with one another, and how important she thought that it was that we had talked about it. How important it is to have compassion with ourselves, but also with the people around us, even when they are not the best humans, maybe. I feel like I had a bit of my hope in humanity restored.
Yeah. For more talks, be aware of the upcoming episodes in the following weeks, and thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.